Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God. Back with you with the next video in my Line of God Daily Diary series. As usual, before I discuss what I have achieved since yesterday's Daily Diary video, I want to read you a chapter from the Bible. Today I will be continuing the book of Psalms, starting off today with Psalm 81. To the chief musician upon Gittith, a psalm of Asaph. Sing aloud unto God our strength, make a joyful noise unto the God of Jacob. Take a psalm, and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel, and a law of the God of Jacob. Thus he ordained in Joseph for a testimony, when he went out through the land of Egypt, where I heard a language that I understood not. I removed his shoulder from the burden, his hands were delivered from the pots. Thou calledst in trouble, and I delivered thee. I answered thee in the sacred place of thunder. I proved thee at the waters of Meribah. Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will testify unto thee. O Israel, if thou wilt hearken unto me, there shall no strange God be in thee, neither shalt thou worship any strange god. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it. But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Israel would none of me. So I gave them up unto their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels. O that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways! I should soon have subdued their enemies, and turned my hand against their adversaries. The haters of the Lord should have submitted themselves unto him, but their time should have endured forever. He should have fed them also with the finest of wheat, and with honey out of the rock should I have satisfied thee. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Anytime I get a chance to hear Jehovah speak, I feel like, I feel so good because I write about this in my gospel. I write about it where I talk about how after going through adversity in my life, I have emerged from that adversity. I write like the phoenix from the flames. I have emerged from that adversity as the perfect Spirit of God. And to say you're perfect in terms of your intention, your soul, your spirit, I often say that my heart is perfect with the Lord my God. And I don't say that in a way to be braggadocious or to, to be cocky. Rather, what I say is that there are many examples of humans in the Bible who are referred to as perfect. I believe David says that he is perfect with the Lord his God. God says that Job is perfect. Jesus, the God man, I call him affectionately the example of perfection. So there are examples of men who call themselves perfect. It's that when you are perfect, you look at Jehovah, who is perfect, and you just want to hear what he says because you know that he's not suffering from lust. You know that he's not suffering from adultery. You know that he's not having covetous thoughts. And so when we read this passage again here, Psalm 81 is a psalm I'll remember because we hear Jehovah speak. And when Jehovah speaks, I listen. So we see here in Psalm 81:10, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it. So what do we get from this first passage? We get Jehovah speaking, and gloriously so, talking about who was there for them, with the Red Sea on one side and Pharaoh at the other. Who delivered them through that test? Who delivered the 10 plagues unto the Egyptians? Who delivered Moses and the people through the wilderness? It was Jehovah. Jehovah tells Moses, raise the rod of God. Jehovah tells Moses, I will bring 10 plagues upon the Egyptians' heads. Jehovah tells Moses what to do in the wilderness to lead his people. And to God be the glory. So in the first part of Psalm 81:10, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. So Jehovah recognizes, of course, that he is the one who led the effort in terms, or let me say like this, from my Naren interpretation, you know, believing that I'm Lord Naren by the Spirit of God, as mentioned in the Old and the New Testament, and now the time period I call the Final Testament. The final period until the second coming of Jesus Christ. I think that looking at it, the idea being that Jehovah deserves the lion's share of the credit. That's what I mean. It's not that people didn't do things. It's not like Moses wasn't there. It's not like Joseph wasn't relevant. It's not like Joshua isn't relevant. It's not like the Spirit isn't there. It's that Jehovah deserves the lion's share of the credit. And then we go to the next passage. It says, the next part of Psalm 81:10 says, "Open thy mouth wide and I will fill it." And so the idea being that if Jehovah tells you to do something, on blind faith would you do it? And that's what a perfect person does. Jehovah gives the 10 commandments on blind faith. Jesus says, the man asks Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? To love the Lord thy God with all thy mind, all thy heart, and all thy soul. On blind faith, would you just do what God says? And that's exactly what is an example of what Jehovah says here. You don't have to ask Jehovah whether he's telling you right or wrong. You just have to do what he says, because he's perfect and he's not guiding you wrong. He's God. And it says, but my people would not hearken to my voice, and Israel would none of me. So Jehovah says, but the people were rebelling. They didn't want to believe that this path of piety and purity and faith would lead them to a better existence. They wanted to believe that they could save themselves out of their own hand, instead of accepting that they need God. So I accept, as the Spirit of God, that I need the Son of God and God the Father to achieve everything in my life. I always call upon them. I always humble myself to them on a daily basis, and I know that through sacrificing for them, through sacrificing for God, that everything that I believe, that I want to set my mind to, will come true. So he says the people won't believe in him. They've said Israel would none of me, he says. So continuing on, so I gave them up into their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels. So that's exactly the idea that Jehovah is referring to. When you talk about the people in worship, who said they want to worship the molten calf, they want to go. One of the words Jehovah uses, I believe it comes from Jehovah's mouth. I don't remember the exact passage, but he talks about and leave the people in their whoredoms or something like that. So he views it, this was referred to the pagans or the Jews, I don't remember, but the idea is the whoredoms of the people, the lusts of the people, the adultery of the people. Jehovah says they've given themselves over to the whoredoms, that they're more beast than man. And so Jehovah says they don't want to be saved. So he notices that. Then reading on, 81:13, Psalm 81:13 says, "Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways." So he says purely, he says perfectly, he says, had they submitted themselves to me, I would have been able to lead them to a greater level of existence, where every one of them would be happier. But in their whoredoms they rebelled. They sought to save themselves out of their own hand instead of submitting to the will of God, and as a result, they suffer in their lust, adultery, and whoredoms. And now, so continuing on, it reads, I should have subdued their enemies and turned my hand against their adversaries. Look at the way Jehovah speaks. He speaks like God. He speaks like single-handedly he can defeat all their enemies, defeat all their adversaries. And that's why I always say in the tests of my life that everything I have achieved has been by the grace of God. That it is God who is, and to God be the glory. I fear Jehovah, I fear Jesus, because when you read the wrath of them in the Bible and then the mercy of them, only a perfect being could be like that. And it says, and that's really the essence of it. That last part just shows the greatness of Jehovah once more. Jehovah who says, no man who has challenged me has ever won. Everything under the heaven is his. And then he writes here, he says, I should soon have subdued their enemies and turned my hand against their adversaries. But he didn't. Why? Because they gave themselves over to their whoredoms. And so with that, I want to go ahead and end the Bible reading there for today. And I want to go ahead and transition now over to what I have achieved since yesterday's Daily Dive video. Since yesterday's Daily Dive video, I worked at my core. I uploaded and scheduled my 5 workout videos. I uploaded and scheduled many video game videos, and I have created this daily diet video for 7/30/23. And with no further achievements since yesterday's daily diet video, I want to go ahead and say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. Light to be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.